Teachers are the cornerstone of education, mentors who guide students not only in academics but also in life. They are entrusted with shaping young minds, inspiring confidence, and building trust. But what happens when that trust is broken? When those in positions of authority cross ethical and legal lines? Today, we'll explore the shocking stories of 7 teachers who exploited their roles to engage in inappropriate relationships with students. These stories will reveal how boundaries were crossed, how they were caught, and the lasting consequences of their actions. Let's dive in. 1. Sarah Jones. Sarah Jones was a well-known high school English teacher and cheerleading coach in Kentucky. She was admired by her students, respected by her colleagues, and a prominent figure in her community. But beneath the surface, Sarah was hiding a shocking secret that would forever tarnish her reputation. Sarah's actions came to light when explicit text messages between her and a 17-year-old male student were discovered. The messages revealed the extent of their relationship, leaving little room for interpretation. What made the situation even more controversial was how Sarah initially denied everything, claiming she was a victim of false accusations. However, as the investigation progressed, the evidence against her became undeniable. In court, Sarah eventually pled guilty to sexual misconduct and unlawful use of electronic means to induce a minor. But instead of facing jail time, she received probation, a sentence that many criticized as far too lenient, given the seriousness of her crimes. The scandal didn't end there. Shockingly, after the case was closed, Sarah and the student, now an adult, began publicly dating, sparking even more outrage. For many, Sarah's case remains a prime example of how trust can be exploited by those in positions of power. 2. Brittany Zamora. Brittany Zamora was a 27-year-old 6th-grade teacher in Arizona. Her case is one of the most infamous examples of a teacher abusing her authority. Brittany developed an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old male student, an act that shocked parents, educators, and the community alike. But how she was caught makes this case even more disturbing. It all started when the boy's parents noticed unusual behavior. He was constantly on his phone, texting at all hours of the day and night. Suspicious, they installed a parental monitoring app on his phone, and what they found was horrifying. The app intercepted explicit messages between Brittany and their son, including graphic details about their encounters. The parents wasted no time reporting this to the authorities, who launched an investigation. Brittany was arrested shortly after, and during the trial, more evidence surfaced, including messages where she pleaded with the student not to reveal their relationship. The court showed no leniency in her sentencing. Brittany received 20 years in prison, a punishment that reflected the severity of her betrayal. Her case remains one of the most talked-about teacher scandals, and it serves as a grim reminder of how easily trust can be broken by those in positions of authority. 3. Alexandria Vera. Alexandria Vera was a 24-year-old middle school teacher in Texas whose case shocked the nation, not only because of her actions, but because of the involvement of the student's family. Alexandria began a relationship with a 13-year-old male student, and according to reports, the boy's family knew about the relationship and even approved of it. The relationship escalated quickly. Alexandria claimed that the student's family encouraged her to date him, and at one point she became pregnant with the boy's child. She later said she thought their relationship was consensual and that she had the family's blessing. However, when the school district received an anonymous tip about the relationship, an investigation began. Fearing potential backlash, Alexandria terminated the pregnancy and briefly fled before turning herself in to authorities. During her trial, Alexandria was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Her case raised serious ethical and legal questions, particularly about the role of the boy's family and how such a situation was allowed to continue for so long. The story remains one of the most disturbing examples of a teacher exploiting their position of power and trust. Chapter 4. Sarah Fowlks. Sarah Fowlks was a 27-year-old biology teacher in Texas whose case gained national attention, not just for the charges against her, but for her now infamous mugshot. When Sarah was arrested for having an inappropriate relationship with a 17-year-old student, her smiling mugshot went viral, leaving many questioning whether she understood the gravity of the situation. The case came to light after the student confided in a school counselor, who immediately notified authorities. An investigation revealed evidence of physical contact between Sarah and the student, leading to her arrest. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Sarah maintained her innocence during the initial stages of the case. Eventually, Sarah pled guilty and received probation. But her mugshot became a symbol of the case, sparking debates online about whether her demeanor reflected a lack of remorse. For many, Sarah's case highlights how easily boundaries can be crossed and how damaging such relationships can be to all involved. 5. Lisa Glide. Lisa Glide was a drama teacher in New Jersey who was beloved by her students for her energy and creativity. But her career came to an abrupt end when investigators discovered she had been engaging in an inappropriate relationship with a 17-year-old male student. The relationship came to light after the student confided in a friend, who then reported it to school officials. Authorities uncovered text messages between Lisa and the student that not only confirmed the relationship, but also revealed the extent of their interactions. Lisa was arrested and charged with endangering the welfare of a child. She later pled guilty and served a brief jail sentence followed by probation. Despite her apologies and admission of guilt, Lisa's actions left a lasting impact on the student and the school community. Her case serves as a stark reminder of how quickly trust can be destroyed when boundaries are crossed in a teacher-student relationship. 6. Bonnie Rose Gesmazok. Bonnie Rose Gesmazok, 36, pleaded guilty to sexual assault of a child on July 13th and was sentenced to 10 years in prison on October 3, according to court documents. The victim's family discovered the inappropriate student-teacher relationship after he overdosed on prescription drugs. A civil lawsuit filed back on Feb. 24 against Conroe, ISD states. Gesmazok was placed on administrative leave after being arrested and charged with indecency with the child on January 25, according to Conroe Independent School District. She posted a $100,000 bond and was out of jail, records show. The victim's family filed the lawsuit, additionally accusing Snapchat of failing to monitor for predators, which they believe allowed Gesmazok to groom the high school student for what police reports say was an inappropriate sexual relationship. According to the lawsuit, Gesmazok arranged private, off-campus meetings with the teenager, sent seductive photos of herself, and solicitous messages using Snapchat. The lawsuit alleges she encouraged the teen to take prescription drugs, which she provided along with money before their encounters. The lawsuit further states that Snapchat's design allows sexual predators to target underage children. The family accuses the social media platform of monitoring content for its own financial gain, but not for the protection of its users. In addition to Snapchat, the victim's family is accusing Conroe ISD of failing to properly screen its employees and failing to train staff to recognize the signs of inappropriate activity between teachers and students. The school district does not have any policies addressing social media communications between students and teachers, the lawsuit claims. This boy's school was his safe haven, the family's attorney Derek Merman said. He trusted his teachers and the staff around him. All of the parties failed him and must be held accountable. The lawsuit notes a history of incidents in which Conroe ISD employees have been accused of inappropriate activity with students. When you send your children to school, you want to make sure they are not bullied, co-counsel attorney Andrea Kolsky said. You want to make sure they are educated. You want to make sure they are happy. And of course, you want to protect them from their worst nightmare. Conroe ISD didn't comment on the lawsuit, citing pending litigation. I want to assure you that Oak Ridge High School and Conroe ISD are committed to providing a safe learning environment for your children. Rochelle Cressman, a Pennsylvania teacher whose actions crossed every imaginable boundary. Her story shocked a small town, leaving a community in disbelief and a student forever scarred. Rochelle Cressman was a 33-year-old teacher at Titusville Middle School in Pennsylvania. Known for her friendly demeanor and dedication to her students, she was seen as a respected figure in her community. Parents trusted her, students admired her, and no one suspected the dark secret she was hiding. But behind the facade of professionalism, Rochelle was grooming one of her male students, a 13-year-old boy. Her behavior would soon escalate beyond anything the community could have imagined. Rochelle began by messaging the boy outside of school hours, under the guise of mentorship and concern for his well-being. But as the conversations continued, they took a darker turn. The messages became explicit, crossing every boundary of appropriate behavior between a teacher and a student. Eventually, Rochelle took things even further. According to reports, she initiated physical contact with the boy, leading to repeated sexual encounters over the span of several months. These acts were not only a betrayal of her role as a teacher, but a crime that would forever alter the life of her young victim. The truth unraveled when the boy confided in another trusted adult, who immediately reported the situation to authorities. Rochelle was arrested in 2021 and charged with multiple counts, including institutional sexual assault and endangering the welfare of a child. Investigators found evidence of her predatory behavior, leaving no doubt about her guilt. During her trial, the court heard how Rochelle's actions had traumatized the student, leaving him emotionally scarred. The once respected teacher was sentenced to up to 7 years in prison, a punishment many felt was far too lenient given the severity of her crimes. The case of Rochelle Cressman left the Titusville community in shock. Parents questioned how such a betrayal of trust could happen right under their noses. Students who once looked up to her were left grappling with confusion and betrayal. The scars of her actions would linger long after her sentencing. This case is a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance, of recognizing the warning signs and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Rochelle Cressman was supposed to be a role model, but instead she became a predator. Rochelle Cressman's story is one of betrayal, manipulation, and the devastating consequences of abuse. It reminds us that even those we trust the most can sometimes hide the darkest secrets. Let this case serve as a reminder to always listen to the voices of the vulnerable, to advocate for those who cannot protect themselves, and to demand accountability for those who exploit their power. What are your thoughts on this disturbing case? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that uncover the darker side of human behavior. And as always, stay vigilant.